For years, we've heard the same story: America is declining, China's rising, Russia's aggressive, and the world is becoming multipolar. But what if that whole story misses the point? What if American power isn't disappearing, but just changing its shape? Think about it. We often picture power as military might or manufacturing output, but today, the real superpowers are structural. Who controls the technology that runs our lives? Who sets the rules for the global financial system? Who owns the world's reserve currency? When you look at the hidden architecture of the modern world, from the software in our phones to the dollar in our pockets, you see a different picture. The United States isn't fading away. It's just learned to wield a quieter, more fundamental kind of influence. This isn't about the past, it's about understanding how power truly works right now. You've probably seen the headlines for years: America is in decline. People say China is rising, Russia is getting aggressive, and we're moving into a multipolar world. But what if that whole story misses the point? What if America isn't losing power, but just changing the kind of power it uses? If you look at technology, finance, and the systems that run our world, the United States still holds the strongest cards. This isn't about patriotism. It's about understanding how power really works today. The idea of American decline comes from things we can see easily: political division at home, high national debt, and military fatigue after long conflicts. At the same time, we see China's incredible growth and Russia's assertiveness on the world stage. Compared to the decades after World War II, America no longer looks like the only giant in the room. But here's the thing: power today isn't just about tanks and territory. It's about who controls the systems everyone else relies on. And in that game, America is still the master architect. In the 20th century, power was measured by army size and industrial output. It was about hard force. But in the 21st century, real power comes from building the platforms, setting the standards, and controlling the flow of money. It's about owning the operating systems of the global economy. While other countries were focused on building factories, the US was building the invisible infrastructure that the world can't live without. It adapted to this new era of power faster and more effectively than anyone else. Let's talk about technology, America's quietest and strongest advantage. Where does real innovation come from? The technologies that will define our future are still overwhelmingly led by the US. We're talking about artificial intelligence, semiconductor design, cloud computing, and financial tech. The most influential companies in the world are not just American. They're woven into the fabric of global life. Think Google, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Amazon. Even if a product is assembled elsewhere, the core intellectual property and design often remain in the US. China is a powerhouse of scale and speed, but America still dominates the deep research and the creation of entire ecosystems. In the long run, that's what truly matters. So, while the old symbols of power might look different, the underlying foundation of American influence remains stronger than ever. If technology is America's brain, then the US dollar is its central nervous system. For years, we've heard predictions about de-dollarization. The idea that the world is about to abandon the dollar. But let's look at the facts. Not the headlines. Global trade is still priced in dollars. Oil, gold, and other commodities are still settled in dollars. The massive global debt market still runs on dollars. And when a crisis hits, where does money run for safety? It floods into the dollar, not away from it. Sure, China wants an alternative, and Russia wants an escape route. But wanting something and actually replacing a global system are two very different things. The dollar isn't powerful because everyone loves America. It's powerful because there is no other system that offers the same combination of trust, liquidity, and deep, reliable legal frameworks. This gives the United States incredible influence without ever firing a single shot. Now, let's talk about the challengers: China and Russia. China is an absolute giant, the world's manufacturing engine, and a serious competitor in technology. But it has its own hurdles. Strict capital controls, a looming demographic decline, and a fundamental lack of trust in the global financial community hold it back. Its centralized political system, while effective in some ways, can also stifle the kind of chaotic, bottom-up innovation that pushes boundaries. China can certainly challenge America on a regional and economic level. But leading the entire global system requires a level of openness and trust it hasn't yet achieved. Russia's power is much more direct and, frankly, limited. It's based on energy exports, military pressure, and its ability to cause disruption in its region. Russia can destabilize its neighbors and create problems. But it can't build a global system that other countries actually want to join. America, on the other hand, doesn't just pressure nations, it attracts them. So why do so many people feel like America's power is fading? It's because that power has become quieter, almost invisible. It's no longer just about aircraft carriers and presidential speeches. It's about the financial rails that move money around the world, the technological standards that everyone adopts, the platforms we all use, and its unmatched ability to attract global talent and capital. That's not a sign of decline, it's the signature of mature, embedded dominance. The world is definitely more complex today. America doesn't control everything, and it never will again. But here's the key: control is no longer the goal, influence is. And when you measure by influence, the United States is still the central hub of the global system, especially in technology and finance. The superpower didn't disappear, it just evolved. History doesn't always end in a dramatic collapse. Sometimes, it continues through adaptation. America's power today is quieter, more technical, and more deeply embedded than ever before. That makes it harder to see, but it also makes it much harder to replace. So, when people ask if America is still a superpower, the real answer is this: the power never disappeared, it just changed its shape. In today's world, influence doesn't always look like military dominance or controlling territory. It shows up in the tech platforms we use, the financial systems that move money, and the rules that quietly shape global markets. The United States still sits at the very center of those systems through its innovation, its capital, and the dollar itself. Now, China and Russia absolutely matter. Their influence is real and growing, but they operate within limits that America doesn't face in the same way. This isn't about who shouts the loudest, it's about who designs the system that everyone else has to use. And for now, that system still runs right through the United States. If you want more clear, fact-based analysis on global power and economics, you're in the right place. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.